Welcome back to Declutter and Done. You look around the house and wonder, why is it always you picking things up? Everyone lives here. Everyone makes the mess. But somehow you're the only one who notices when the dishes pile up when the floor is sticky, or when the shoes are scattered across the hallway. You didn't plan to spend your day wiping counters and putting things back. But if you don't do it, no one else will. And so you clean again, even when you're tired, even when you're already behind on everything else. It's not just the mess. It's the feeling that the work never ends and that no one sees how much you're holding together. That's why in this video, I'm sharing 12 small habits that help take the pressure off. Not by doing more, but by making sure the mess doesn't pile up so fast. These habits help keep the kitchen counters clear, stop laundry from sitting out for days, and make it easier to tidy up in small moments instead of spending your whole weekend catching up. Let's start with the first one. It takes 2 minutes, but it completely shifted how I feel walking into the kitchen in the morning. Number 1. Let's start with something most people don't realize is exhausting until it's gone: heavy furniture. Let's talk about invisible weight. Not just in your head, but in your home. You might not see a huge mess, but you still feel like you can't breathe properly in your own space. That tension builds when your home looks full, feels rigid, and nothing can move easily. Heavy furniture can be part of that. It makes everything harder, rearranging, deep cleaning, even just vacuuming around a corner. You don't realize how much it slows you down until it's gone. These pieces become physical blocks, but also emotional ones. They send the message that your space can adapt or evolve. I used to have a storage bench that looked great, but took 2 people to move. Every time I wanted to clean near the baseboards, I skipped that area because the bench made it too hard. It wasn't just about cleaning. It was about feeling like my own house was working against me. The weight of it seeped into my routines. Once I replaced it with a simple, lightweight bamboo shelf, everything changed. I could move it myself, clean around it easily, and even shifted its position when I needed the space. I started vacuuming that spot again, not because I had more energy, but because it wasn't a fight anymore. It turned that corner of my home from a burden into something flexible and useful. Next, I'll show you a small laundry tweak that completely changed how my mornings feel. Some mornings feel heavy before the day even begins. Not because anything went wrong, but because everything is already waiting. The dishes, the laundry, the mental list that starts running before you even open your eyes. That quiet pressure can follow you from room to room. You are not tired from doing too much. You are tired from thinking about everything that still needs to be done. One thing that helped me change this was automating just one part of my morning. I set my washing machine to start before I wake up. By the time I walk into the kitchen, the first load is already clean. I move it to the dryer while I make tea. No decisions, no build-up. This makes a real difference. It breaks the feeling of being behind and replaces it with a small win. You start the day already in motion. I used to put laundry off until I had the energy. Now it's done before I even think about it. It's one less thing pulling at me. This shift is not just about laundry. It's about giving your brain the message that things are already moving forward. Next, we will look at how visual clutter quietly drains your focus, even when you are trying to relax. Sometimes it's not the noise that drains you. It's what you see. Piles of paper on the counter. An open drawer that never quite closes. 5 half-used candles that no longer smell like anything. Even if you are not actively thinking about them, your brain is. Every item in your line of sight sends a message. Decide something, clean something, fix something. That constant visual input slowly wears down your mental focus. The shift I made was simple. I stopped scanning each room for what to clean and started asking what could leave my sight. Not permanently, not forever. Just what does not need to be visible right now. I bought one neutral-colored basket with a lid. When I need to reset or focus, I do a quick sweep and drop in anything visually noisy. Random items packaging clutter I have not sorted yet. The rule is simple. Out of sight for now. Sort later if needed. At first I thought I was just hiding the mess, but it turns out even a temporary pause helps my brain reset. The silence in the room becomes real silence, not a reminder of 10 other things I should do. Once those little things are gone from view, the room feels calmer. I feel less scattered. It is not about making it perfect. It is about giving your brain less to carry. We underestimate how much clutter pulls from our energy. Removing it even temporarily gives your focus back without needing to deep clean the entire house. Now let's look at what happens when you stop trying to match yesterday's pace and start listening to what today really needs. There are days when everything feels heavier, not because the house is messier, but because you are more tired. Maybe it is poor sleep, too many decisions, or just emotional weight that is harder to shake off. On those days, even small routines feel like a stretch. What was simple yesterday suddenly feels impossible. That does not mean you are falling behind. It just means you are human. For a long time, I believed consistency meant repeating the same effort every single day. If I wiped the counters last night, I should do it again tonight. If I managed a full laundry cycle once, why not now? But life is not that neat, especially for women who often carry invisible loads that shift daily. Some days need a gentler rhythm, and forcing your way through it just burns you out. So now I ask myself one thing: what can I handle today? Not the whole list, just one thing. Maybe it is tossing clothes in the dryer, maybe it is clearing a surface, or maybe it is doing nothing and letting that be enough. Giving myself that permission changed everything. I bounce back faster. The shame fades, the energy returns, and the home still stands. This is what makes routine sustainable. Not doing it all, just adjusting without guilt. Let's move on to how reframing cleaning as care, not upkeep, completely changed my relationship with my home. For a long time, I saw cleaning as something I had to do. A task, a checklist, a way to prove I was keeping up. If the house looked clean, I felt in control. If it didn't, I felt like I was falling short. That pressure crept into everything. A sock on the floor became a symbol of failure. A spill on the counter felt like starting over. Not because the job was hard, but because it never seemed to stay done. Then one day, something clicked. I was wiping the counter tired as usual and thought, this is not a task. This is care, quiet care, repetitive, simple grounding. It is how I reset the space where I cook, where I think, where I pause. It is not about perfection. It is about reconnecting. That one thought made everything feel lighter. I stopped rushing through tasks just to check a box. I started lighting a candle while I cleaned, playing music while folding towels, pouring a cold drink before doing dishes. It helped me slow down, to let the doing itself be a way back into my body. Some days I finish everything. Other days I only sweep. But I do it gently, not urgently, because your home does not need performance. It needs presence. And the more I gave it, the more it returned it back to me. Let's shift now into something even simpler. Why basic meals might be the smartest way to protect your time and your energy. There is constant pressure to make every meal feel complete, fresh, and impressive. You open the fridge, scroll through recipes, and already feel tired. It is not always the cooking that drains you. Often, it is the decisions. What helped me was letting go of the idea that variety is always better. I gave myself permission to repeat meals, to lean on shortcuts, to make dinner as simple as possible on full days, because food is fuel, not a performance. Now I rotate a few easy meals each week. Things that take less than 20 minutes, use what I already have and do not destroy the kitchen. Grilled cheese and soup, stir fry with frozen veggies, pulled chicken and bag salad. Nothing fancy, but we eat. And the sink does not overflow. I used to feel guilty, like I was not trying hard enough. But I realized every time I simplify dinner, I protect my energy. I have more space for things that matter more, like talking to someone I care about, or sitting down for a minute before bed, or ending the day without resenting my own kitchen. Simple meals mean less mess, less cleanup, and less noise in your head. They give you time back, and you do not have to explain that to anyone. Let's look now at how scent and sound can do more than lift your mood. They can turn housework into something that feels less like work. Some tasks feel heavier just because of the mood in the room. You know you need to wipe the counters or fold the towels, but something about the silence makes it harder. The light feels too harsh, the space feels dull, and suddenly even simple work feels heavy. What changed things for me was this. I stopped waiting to feel motivated. I set the mood first. Before doing anything, I play music. I choose a scent that makes me want to breathe deeper. The task becomes softer before it even begins. Now before a reset, I ask myself a different question. What would make this feel lighter? Some days it is a jazz playlist and peppermint oil. Other days an old favorite album and a citrus candle. These small shifts wake the room up. It sounds small, but it matters. Music brings rhythm. Scent creates comfort. They shape the environment in ways that help your body show up, not just push through. When I try to clean in silence, I feel like I am forcing every step. But when the right sound fills the room and it smells like something I love, I feel more present, less drained, more at home. Let us move from sound to sight. The next shift is all about creating visual rhythm instead of chasing perfection. That is where real calm begins. A lot of women say the same thing. I clean all the time, but it still feels messy. That is because a clean house is not just about what gets done. It is about what stays done long enough for you to enjoy it. I used to chase perfection. Clear counters, vacuum lines, no dishes in the sink. But it never lasted. Within hours, something was out of place, and I felt like I was back at zero. That cycle was exhausting, not because the work was hard, but because it never felt finished. The shift was this. I stopped aiming for perfect resets and started looking for visual rhythm. That means focusing on what gives my space a steady look even when it is lived in. For me, that is the entry table clear, the dining table wiped, the sink empty before bed. Not everything, just enough so the space feels held. These are the visual anchors I come back to. Even if the floor is dusty or laundry is halfway folded, those small cues tell my brain, you are doing okay. The house is functioning. Perfection is fragile. Rhythm is sustainable. When you build visual cues around what calms you, not what impresses others, you create a home that actually works for real life. Now, let us look at why giving every item a resting place is the quiet habit that keeps clutter from creeping back in. You know those little things that never stay put? The pen that moves from room to room, the keys that end up on the couch, the charger that is always somewhere. It is not that you do not tidy. It is that these things do not have a home. Clutter does not always come from having too much. Sometimes it comes from not giving clear homes to what you already use. When items lack a landing spot, they become visual noise. They move, pile up, and create low-level stress every time you see them out of place. The shift I made was simple. Do not just declutter what you do not need. Define a resting place for what you do need. A dish for your rings by the sink. A basket for cords. A small tray for items in transit. Make sure these spots are practical, not aspirational. The resting place should match where the item actually ends up, not where you wish it would go. For example, I kept losing my glasses case because I stored it in a drawer across the room. Once I placed a small fabric tray near the spot I actually used them, the problem disappeared. It was not about being tidier. It was about being honest with how I move through my space. When something has a home, your brain stops tracking it. You no longer remind yourself to deal with it later. You save mental energy for what actually matters. I used to think organization was about containers, but really it is about making decisions once, so you do not have to make them over and over again. Now we will explore a simple rule that prevents little messes from snowballing into overwhelm. One of the biggest reasons clutter builds up is that we wait for a better time to deal with it. The dishes sit, receipts pile up, the bag from the weekend stays on the floor all week. Each time we walk past those things, Our brain registers them as unfinished. Quiet stress grows louder the longer it is ignored. What helped me was this simple mindset: do it now, if it takes less than 2 minutes. Not to be efficient, but to stop the mess from multiplying. When I walk past the bathroom and see a towel on the floor, I hang it. Shoes in the hallway get placed by the door. I do not clean the whole house. I just interrupt the snowball. Mess attracts mess. 1 cup becomes 3. 1 bag becomes 2 more. A small reset in the moment keeps the buildup from starting. I use a 10-minute tidy timer for days I feel scattered. I walk through the house only doing quick fixes, such as trash surfaces items back to their home. When the timer ends, I stop. No pressure to do more. These little resets are not about perfection. They are about staying in motion gently and consistently, so you do not end up in a space that overwhelms you. Finally, let us explore how involving others in your space can create shared responsibility instead of extra work for you. Many women carry the quiet expectation that they should handle everything themselves. The dishes, floors, routines, and daily resets, all without asking for help. Even when exhausted or overwhelmed, we keep going because we think that is what holding it together looks like. But a home is not a solo performance. It is a shared space. And when the work is not shared, frustration and resentment can grow silently. One simple shift helped me: if it is not your mess alone, it is not your job alone. This does not mean assigning chores like a manager. It means naming what you need and making the work visible. For example, saying, "This table has been piling up. Can we clear it together for 2 minutes?" Sometimes people do not help because they do not know what is needed. Other times it is because we have done it so long, they assume we want to. Inviting others in changes the tone. The home starts to feel more lived in, not just lived through. This is not about perfection. It is about not carrying the invisible load alone. Let others take up space and help care for it too. Now we will explore how simplifying meals and tools can make everyday home care less exhausting and more automatic. We often think solving mess means doing more routines, more bins, more systems. But sometimes what we really need is less friction between us and the things we do every day. Look at where you struggle most in your space. It is often not because the task is too hard, but because something about it is awkward. The trash can is too far, the cleaning spray is out of reach, the drawer sticks, the system has too many steps. What changed everything for me was asking one question: how can I make this easier to start? Not easier to finish, just easier to begin. I moved my cleaning cloths to the bathroom so I would not avoid mirror smudges. I added a small bin under the desk so receipts would not pile up. I gave up on fancy chore charts and used a simple handwritten list taped to the fridge. None of these things are impressive, but they work because they remove tiny frictions that once made me hesitate. When something is easier to start, it gets done. Not because I am more motivated, but because I am not blocked. Your home does not need more from you. It needs to work with you. And that starts by removing anything, even small things, that get in your way. Now that we have gone through the 12 shifts that changed my space and my energy, let us wrap up with a quick reminder of what really matters. We've explored 12 shifts that make a real difference in how your home feels and how your mind responds to it. Each small change, from choosing lighter furniture to creating visual rhythm, helps you regain calm focus and control without perfection. Remember, decluttering is not about doing everything at once. It is about momentum presence and creating systems that support your life instead of weighing you down. If your home feels calmer and your mind lighter after these steps, the work is already paying off. Start with one shift at a time and notice the difference. For more tips on decluttering each area of your home and creating lasting calm, check out our other videos. If you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe. Your space and your mind deserve to feel lighter every day.